Your argument doesn't make any sense. Ooh, that drives me crazy. Why are you so sensitive? Go on, leave. Go somewhere else if you don't want to be here. Listen, my birthday's this month and I've been in one of the worst reading slumps of my entire life. So here I am, super late with my February reading wrap up. But listen, I'm gonna give you all the deets. I'm gonna give you all the updates. We're gonna go over all the books I've read in February. We're gonna do a March reading update and we are gonna go over the remaining books that I hope to read this month and which ones I think are gonna be 5 stars. So listen, you guys always ask for the reading updates. You always want the reading wrap ups. I'm here to deliver. I'm still convinced no one likes reading wrap ups, but listen, I'm gonna give the people what they want. And when I tell you I read and am currently reading 2 of the most actually disturbing, unhinged books I think I've ever read in my life this month. I don't know what that says about me, but I'm gonna tell you about them. So first of all, welcome to my new library. I can't give you a super big pan over right now. If you want a video on a library tour, it's not completely done yet, but we're still working on it. This is my second filming space. This is my actual library. Downstairs is a little bit more of my display of all my fancy books and all of my colorful books with the sprayed edges. But let me be real with you here, since we're on YouTube, where we are real and we share tea and we talk about real life. I have been in the worst reading slump. I've still managed to read some really good books. I don't know if you would call it a reading slump actually, because it doesn't really have anything to do with what I'm reading. I've been in a life slump. I hate everything right now. I don't hate the books that I'm reading. I don't want it to sound like that, but I literally hate everything else. I'm being pulled in a million different directions. Everything is stressful. Everything is terrible. And I just feel terrible. So it's made reading really hard. I've read really slow, but I will tell you with this February and half of March reading wrap up and update, I have read some really good books, definitely have at least 1 or 2 5 stars in here. So I don't know what the point of telling you this is, but I just feel like YouTube is more a little bit vloggy. It's where I can be real. So hopefully you appreciate that. But let's go over the first 5-star book that I read in February, which was The Poison Daughter by Sheila Masterson. So one very interesting and good thing about The Poison Daughter is it is a standalone. I've been really getting behind standalones. They've been just serving me lately. I feel like I have so much anxiety and overwhelm in my life that I don't want the overwhelm of starting a big giant series. That actually terrifies me right now. I'm still gonna do it and I'm gonna finish ones that I'm in the middle of, but starting big giant series has been really freaking me out lately. So Poison Daughter is a standalone. It is the perfect amount of spicy. It is the perfect amount of tension, slow burn. It's very, very angsty. Our love interests, or our main characters, quite literally, well, one of them, tries to unalive the other multiple times, and she actually keeps a list of different ways that might work for unaliving him, which I really liked that. This has vampires, if you like From Blood and Ash. This was a really, really good time. This was one of the first books in a while where I didn't want to put it down. So I have been in my pits of despair. I usually want to watch reality TV. I did pause to watch Love is Blind, and I paused to watch all 4 current season of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Have you guys heard the drama lately, by the way, about the Bachelorette? Anyway, separate discussion. Please also let me know if you want a video on my top favorite, not reality TV, but really good top tier, god tier fantasy TV shows, because I would love to tell you about those. TikTok didn't want to hear them, so let me know if you guys want them. But this, I didn't want to watch brain rot TV. I wanted to pick this up and finish this book. That's how good it was. And truly, for me, with my ADH Aries self, it's really hard for me to want to pick up a book if there's something that requires less brain power. It's more fun, like watching reality TV. I put down Secret Lives of Mormon Wives to finish this one. This one was really good, absolutely amazing time. I truly don't think there's that many people who won't like it. I'm sure it's not for, if you don't like romantasy, obviously you're not gonna like it, but if you like romantasy, this one's kind of renowned. It's universally liked. I haven't seen a bad review for it. I've maybe seen 1 or 2 where they were oh, this was a 4-star, not a 5-star. And to be honest, I think I rated it 4.75, but for a standalone, there's no notes on this. This felt completely wrapped up at the end. You didn't leave feeling like there was more to be desired. The relationship, the development, the characters all felt complete at the end of the series. And this managed to pack in a couple of plot twists, one of which was emotionally damaging. So this was probably my favorite thing that I read in February. So we're gonna start it out really strong. And this, I had an excellent time with. I would fully recommend to everyone. So if you haven't read The Poison Daughter yet, Favorite read of February 2026 right here. We followed up The Poison Daughter with a sequel to one of my favorite series of 2025. It just came out. I read Heart of Mischief, which is the sequel to Soul of Shadow. So the story behind Soul of Shadow is, let me tell you, this is how things happen sometimes. And let me go ahead and preface this. I have never talked about or promoted a book for money that I didn't like. So Soul of Shadow was actually one of the first like paid partnerships I did on TikTok, and the author or the publisher asked me to read it. I said, sure, I'll read it, and if I like it, I will do a video and do a review on it. So I read it, and it wasn't my idea to read it. And the way that it ended up being like one of my favorite things that I read, just talked about liking fantasy and 5-star like TV shows. I love a CW TV show, Vampire Diaries, The 100. The Magicians is sci-fi, but like similar vibe. Like I like a high energy, super addictive teen and like early college level like fantasy dystopian show. And this was basically like reading the Vampire Diaries, except it had Norse mythology instead of like vampire lore in it. It is so fun. This is a book that I would recommend to people if they're looking for something fun, something they don't have to think hard about, something that has like a very entertaining, fast-paced plot line. I was reading it and I was having a good time and I was like, oh, this is a fine read. However, the relationship and the book boyfriend in here is the most Damon Salvatore-coded person I've read about. Like the way that we have an immaculately done lovers to enemies and they hate each other. It's not like, oh, he kind of betrayed me. And you know, they do something stupid and then the main character's like, I hate them, they did the terrible thing. And you're looking, you're like, they literally didn't do anything that terrible and you're totally gonna forgive them in like 5 seconds in the next episode. But this was like Vampire Diaries. You know when Damon like tries to unalive her brother and like her whole family like multiple times and he does unalive some of her friends? This guy was giving Damon Salvatore vibes. And I was just like, this is for me. This is what I want. This is what I like to see. I totally ate this up. And the moral of the story is someone asked me to read it, to promote it. And I was like, let me give this a shot. And it ended up being one of my favorite books. So I read Heart of Mischief by myself. I read it because I wanted to. Nobody asked me to read it. I was looking forward to it and it's been on my most anticipated books of 2026 since I did my little video on it earlier in the year. So if you go back and reference, I put that on there. I'm not lying or making it up. I read Heart of Mischief. I absolutely loved it. I feel like this is a fun time. And I feel like I can say this with people understanding what I mean. It is a vibes read. It is young adult vibes read. It's got, if you read the Lightlark series, it's got a good amount of like good steam in it that like makes it kind of feel like a spicy romantasy, but you're not gonna get like super explicit things. And I personally am tired of overly spicy books after what I've read recently in March that I will tell you about. But this one was just an all-around good time. So if you like watching CW shows, if you grew up liking watching them, Pretty Little Liars, Vampire Diaries, The 100, all of that, like this is giving all of those types of vibes. Not quite as crazy as The 100, but this one was an absolute vibes read. It was an amazing time. I will definitely read the third book when it comes out, and you should totally add it to your TBR. Like this is one that's like a great time. And it's honestly, I feel like this always sounds insulting, but it's a really good palate cleanser. Like you don't have to think very hard about it in a very entertaining way at surface level. It's not like a deep world building. It actually takes place in the real world. Like we have a girl going to high school like in the real world. It's just basically this Norse mythology like world exists kind of in a dimension on top of theirs, and she can see all of the magic happening in the real world in the other plane of existence. So that's how it's like a CW show. It's magical realism. It's not high fantasy. It's not going to be confusing. You are going to swoon over the book boyfriend. I will tell you that. So also in February, we read The Wolf and the Crown of Blood, another standalone, you guys. Like February was basically standalones and then series that I was already excited about. The Wolf and the Crown of Blood really, really surprised me. It is, now everybody's correcting me, it says it's a series online. It's a series of interconnected standalones. Guys, if I come on here and I call something a standalone, I have looked into it. I've also finished the book, so I can clearly tell it has ended at the end of the book. I'm not gonna come on here unless I'm giving you a reading update and tell you about a book I haven't finished. It's a series of interconnected standalones, very similar to the Princes of Sin series by Carrie Maniscalco. So each book is different characters in the same world who have a completely different story, location, vibe. So it's basically for people who love standalones. So you can read them. Usually it doesn't really matter what order you read them in. So I don't know that that matters. You'll just get spoilers on like who ends up together if you see them walk by in another series. But generally with like a romantasy standalone, you know people are going to end up together. So whatever. The Wolf and the Crown of Blood is the first book in a series of interconnected standalones. So we've got two characters, some of the most angsty, angry, tormented soul people. Our male main character in here, number one, he's got wings, and number two, he is like pain obsessed. He's got a little bit of like a knife kink. Like he sneaks into her room one night and just tells her to hurt him, and they both like kind of get off on it, you know? And I was just like, whoa, this is for me. Love that. Didn't know that was going to be in there. It was sort of like darker and angstier than I thought it was going to be. It kind of looks like it's going to be a general romantasy standalone, but it's got depth, it's got like layers to it. I listened to a lot of it on the audiobook, and I remember thinking in the audiobook that I was at the end of the book 3 times. I thought we were at the end 3 times, and then it kept going and got deeper, and then it kept going and got deeper, and then it kept going, and then it finally ended. And I'm not saying that I wanted it to end, but I just feel like the way it went sort of in like a circle of drama, a big circle of things, a bigger circle of things, and then we finally got to the end of it. But that was really interesting to me because normally I feel like romantasy books are at least a little bit predictable, and I couldn't tell you when or where the book was going to end or where anybody was going to end up. I will tell you, our book boyfriend is a very pain obsessed. Oh, he also has the primal play kink. He likes to chase his love interest, and then they have spicy time when he catches her. I love that. But we have 2 other male main characters who were in this book, who I am pretty sure the next 2 books in the standalone series are going to be. And one of them's name is Alexios, and I'm assuming he's gonna be last because he is the worst. Like, he is red flag. Like, he was giving, like, if you took Malir and Rhysand and mixed them together, like, he's not as bad as Malir, but he gives, like, book 1 of ACOTAR Rhysand in, like, the best way, but, like, a little darker than that. Like, darker than what was going on in Rhysand. And he is just, like, this unfeeling, you know there's something under the surface, but he's very, I can't wait for his book, is what I was trying to say. I cannot wait. For our Dragon Shifter girlies, we also read Spark the Flames in February of 2026, and I've got something really exciting to tell you after this review. Spark the Flames, listen, the tea here is that I was very nervous and skeptical about reading Spark the Flames because it has really good reviews on Goodreads. And the way that Goodreads treats some of my favorite books, like Zodiac Academy, I'm always very skeptical of Goodreads. And I was like, are people lying about this? Are these paid reviews? And do we just, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I don't have the same type of taste as people do on Goodreads. I feel like, I don't know. But Spark the Flames deserves every single bit of hype that it gets anywhere. And it doesn't get any hype on like BookTok or Bookstagram or anything. It has really good reviews on Goodreads, and I guess maybe like Amazon or Fable or whatever, the like written review book apps, but like I don't ever see anybody talk about it. And it has dragon shifters. Also, the FMC is a dragon shifter. Usually I feel like dragon shifters are always like the hot men. Like there are men dragon shifters in here as well. But we have an FMC who's also a dragon shifter. So it's been a long time since I've read a dragon shifter book. I feel like that always makes me think of Zodiac Academy. But like this was great. And it's high, like fast-paced, immediately good. It's one of those books that's not like, it doesn't take any effort to get into it, which is just exactly what I needed in my February and half of March reading and life slump. I need books that are going to immediately grab me, and all 3 of the ones on this list so far, The Poison Daughter, within 5 pages, I was into it. Spark the Flames, within 5 to 10 pages, I was into it. Heart of Mischief was a sequel, so I already knew that I liked it, so within the first 5 to 10 pages, I was into that as well. So this is just what I've been needing. I've been needing standalones, I've been needing things that are immediately good. I don't have time for bullshit that's not good. I am gonna be honest with you, I think those were all the books that I read in February, which is why I put off doing a reading wrap-up, because how freaking boring is that? I watched a lot of TV. I was in my TV era, my Secret Lives of Mormon Wives era, and it took me down. However, I am ready to go in March. I have already finished some books, and I don't know whether to tell you about them now or to just sort of give you like a reading update. Maybe I'll just give you a reading update and then we'll go into full reviews at the end of March, because I'm not one to waste a video slot. We're gonna do another video for the March reading wrap up. Books that I have finished so far in March, I have finished The Pale Court Duet by Liv Zander, which the entire book community has been telling me and begging me and asking me to read that, asking me whether it's as good as Feathers So Vicious. What I'm gonna tell you in this reading update, it is more disgusting and more unhinged than The Court of Ravens was. That is all I want to tell you. I don't want to give you the rating for it yet, but I will tell you that like I was just so disturbed. And Court of Ravens, I feel like I was disturbed, but I was smirking the whole time. I was like the fun kind of disturbed. I will say multiple, like more times than you would think, I was like legitimately disturbed with The Pale Court Duet. It's crazy. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It made me sick. But listen, we kind of like things like that. But I was like nauseous reading this book. If you don't like body horror, it ain't gonna be for you. But I will give you the full review. Now listen, let me tell you what I'm reading right now, and I actually have this sitting right in front of me. And I kind of need some help for anybody who has read these. So I started reading, I've also been having a lot of symptoms that are like really like, they always tie back to like what people with POTS have, and I've been really worried about that. So if anybody has POTS, what are your symptoms? I've started reading Little Stranger by Leigh Rivers. And this is a true reading update because I'm almost done with book 1 and I have not started book 2 yet, but I will be finished with it before the end of March. What in the world am I reading? Because I'm going to give you a spoiler warning, but it's just a spicy spoiler warning. It's not a plot spoiler warning. So if you don't want to hear that, you're going to want to hear this. This is probably what's going to convince you to read this book. There's a scene in here. This is also not a spoiler. It is immediately from page 1 described. This is a step-sibling romance. I don't know how this ends. I guess it's a romance. And it's step-siblings. And basically there's a scene in here where the step-siblings are doing something. The step-brother is down on the step-sister. And their dad walks in. The family's really messed up anyway. There's some like underlying like family politics in here that are like really, really disturbing and messed up, which I think we're probably going to dive into in book 2. But they're going at it. The dad walks in. Obviously the dad is like, what's going on? This is disgusting. It was a really uncomfortable scene in general, but basically the stepbrother gets really angry and he pushes the dad down the stairs. And for all intents and purposes, I actually am not finished with that scene. It's what it was currently playing in my audiobook in my car, so I had to turn the car off and I literally don't know how this scene is going to end, so this is where we left off. He threw the dad down the stairs. The dad potentially is unalived. The stepsister goes down to check on her dad and the stepbrother takes her. They finish on top of his body. And at that point, I was sitting in the car and I was like, is this what I'm doing right now? Is this my life? I'm choosing to listen to this. Now, I don't want you guys to think that I'm completely deranged. I didn't like that. Like, there were scenes in Feathers So Vicious where something would happen and I was like, this is absolutely disgusting. I love it. It's great. That's not how I felt. I was just like, this is horrific. This is bad. And my question is, at this point in the book, my reading update is this gonna be a 1 star? Because right now, I do not like this. I'm not, like I kind of can't look away. It's like a car accident. Like I kind of want to know what happens. But if I had not heard people who really love dark romance talk about this book as being one of their favorites, I would have DNF'd it after that scene. Not because it was like, that's very disturbing, but I have read more disturbing things in a book, but I just feel like the way we're going right now, I don't understand. There's a lot of spice right out the gate, and if you know me, you know I don't like that. And I'm just like, So yeah, this is the Web of Silence duet. And guys, people said that I was going to love this. Well, there was a warning from the author at the beginning of book 1 that said, don't let book 1 fool you. She said something along the lines, like something insinuating like this will ruin your life. So that's what I'm here for. If there is emotional depth in book 2, this will absolutely turn around. But what the heck is going on in book 1? This is dark romance. This is not fantasy. Now, we have a potential book boyfriend in here that I should be obsessed with. He has ASPD, something like that. Some acronym of a mental illness. I'm sorry, I don't know what it is and I don't want to say the wrong thing. Whatever that is. I think it's ASPD. He is diagnosed unwell and he doesn't speak. So their relationship is in sign language. So he's this like broody, tattooed, obviously very attractive, dark hair, blue-eyed, Lee Rivers and I have a type boy at this point. Like at this point, they're still in high school. I do believe they're not going to be the same age in book 2. So this is all underage people. He's giving like Tobias Mitchell cranked up like 20,000%. I'm just not feeling I'm not feeling the emotional attachment to him just yet. And I'm feeling like everything is feeling really surface level. So TBD on whether or not this will be a 1 star. I'm going to try not to DNF it. I'm going to see it through because I have faith. But if you've read it and you know me and what I like, are we going to be good? So also in March, we did read another standalone. It is a gothic sort of horror feeling romantasy, and again, I've been feeding myself with the standalone books. I've been reading so many. This was a really, really good time. This one is short. It's not overly spicy. It's not gonna be like, oh my God, like this is an amazing spicy standalone. Like it's got steam, it's got romance. Romance is a huge part of this, but it's more like it has really good plot and a really good sort of deep feeling romance and story, which is really crazy because it's so short, it's so small, and it's just 1 book. But this sort of like was the standalone that got me out of my like eldritch reading slump. Like instead of being able to dive into the 3rd book in the Eating Woods trilogy that's going to be like 800 or 900 pages, this one is only like 340 something pages, and I loved this. I love this. If you're looking for standalones, I got you. I've got an entire list of standalones that are on Kindle Unlimited coming to other socials. If you want a YouTube version of that where I can talk a little bit more in depth about them, let me know. I feel like that's what I really struggle with on here is I don't know if you guys want long form versions of videos that I already make that you can find on other platforms, or if you want completely different stuff on YouTube. I feel like I get really stuck here because that's what I think. I think that I have to think of like really new and different ideas that I don't put on other platforms. And I feel like you guys just want the book recs and you want to hear me yap a little extra about them. So we'll plan on putting that on there. I am still working on the dystopian one because it's a big endeavor. I'm making it much longer and much bigger than the one that I put on Instagram because I'm going to include my favorite ones and then I'm going to include like the classics and stuff. Because people complained that I put a bunch of young adult dystopian on there. Sorry that my dystopian era was in middle and high school and I like young adult dystopian. Anyway, gothic, vampires, romantasy, good romance. Less like spice forward, but really good romance. I cannot give you the review on this yet because this is not the March reading wrap up. Are you guys frustrated with the way that I'm doing this video? But yeah, absolutely would recommend. I'm also reading my actual most anticipated, aside from Vesmora by Carrie Lake, romantasy read of 2026. I got Cinder Vale, the art copy. Someone just delivered flowers for my birthday. I'm forgetting that it's my birthday. If you're watching this, I'm filming this on March 20th. My birthday's tomorrow. Why do I feel like I'm making a If You Find My Body camera? It's March 20th. My birthday's tomorrow. Anyway, we've started reading Cinder Vale. I will update you. I am 121 pages into this book. It's great. I feel like I have not gotten far enough at all to tell you like what star rating this is going to be, but it's exactly where we left off at the end of book 2. I'm really confused about the 4th POV that we have. I can't remember her name. It's a weird Septa. Her name is Septa, and number 1, I think she's a Virgo. And listen, I got a thing with Virgos, but I don't understand where this POV is gonna go. Like I feel like obviously it's the Twisted Sister, so it has a reason. So my only critique so far is I don't enjoy her POV. But I do feel like by the time I get to the end of this book, it's going to make sense. And I will say this is a short update, only 121 pages in out of like 600, almost 700 pages. So we'll definitely keep you updated. This will be on the March reading wrap up. And I am expecting still at this point to give you a 4.5 or 5-star review for it. Hopefully it's a 6-star. I don't know. The 3rd book in a series can go either way. It can be kind of like a filler book and feel like a lot of info dumping, kind of like Onyx Storm, the way that felt to me, and it can get a little bit convoluted, so hopefully this doesn't do that. And sometimes the 3rd book is like my favorite book in a series. So sort of like something like, well, I was gonna say ACOTAR, but the 2nd book was the favorite. I actually was not a huge fan of A Court of Wings and Ruin. I mean, I didn't like the end of A Court of Wings and Ruin, so who knows? And I did hear a little update, in case you didn't know, this series is apparently going to be 4 books. So this is the second to the last book, and I think they're planning to give us the last book in the series in 2026. I think it's gonna come out this year, especially since we got this one so early. It comes out on March 31st, so depending on when you see this video, it's either coming out in like a week, 10 days, or it's already out by the time you see it. So this one I'm having a really good time with. I love it. So let's talk about the books that I plan to start and finish in March. I'm not gonna be able to tell you too much about them. Number 1, we're gonna read Starside in March, and we're also reading and talking and discussing Starside in our Slovenia trip. So in case you didn't know, I do book retreats. We are launching the remainder of the 2026 book retreats like this week. So if you want to go to them, I have a private group chat where I tell you all the first access. I'm not trying to sell you on anything. I'm just telling you, if you want to go on a book retreat with me and you want first access to the trips that sell out in like, 5 minutes to an hour at most, I'll link the group chat down here in the caption. But Starside is Alex Aster's first adult romantasy, so I think it's going to be a little spicier than Lightlark. She is the author who wrote Lightlark and Nightbane, and I don't care what any of the haters say. I love Lightlark, I love Nightbane. They are vibes reads. They're new adult vibes reads. Like, what do you want me to say? They're not Shakespeare. No romantasy is Shakespeare. Okay? A lot of romantasy is generally for the vibes. You can find very well written romantasy, however, the majority of it, it's like reading a romance book that has a fantasy setting. Like, people aren't criticizing contemporary romance books for not being like Shakespearean high literature that you have to get a magnifying glass out and a dictionary and a thesaurus to read. Like, go on, leave, go somewhere else if you don't want to be here. We're gonna read Starside, okay? We're also going to read, if you've heard me talking about Eyes of Devious Burgundy, the completed duet by Lacey, this is the second duet that's going to be in the same world. So this is sort of like Crowns of Nyaxia. It's a series, an overarching world that has completed duets taking place in it. They are connected, but the story starts and ends kind of in the duet. So this is book 1 of the Mindbreaker duet. The other one was called the Deathcaller duet. So I don't know who this is going to be about yet, but I love the color scheme. I love that it's blue, and I love that it's going to be a completed duology, very likely this year. So we're going to read this in March. I will be back with a review, and I'm really, really excited about this because this is sort of, she writes like dark fantasy romance, really good tension and slow burn, and then like really good spice and like good quantity of spice on top of that. So for the people who like a really spicy book but also like to read a really well done slow burn, world building, plot, like story that's actually good and is important and not just a backdrop for the people to be like getting it on, like this kind of has everything in it, and it's like dark fantasy romance. This will have a full page of trigger warnings in it. So can't wait for this one. I already know that I like the world. Hopefully I like the characters that this is about, but we'll see. We are also planning to finish, and I have started reading Furybound by Sable Sorensen. Furybound is sequel to Direbound. Now listen, number 1, if you liked Direbound, you're gonna like Furybound. Number 2, if you didn't like Direbound, I would recommend giving Furybound a chance, because a lot of people's criticism was that it was a copy-paste Fourth Wing. Listen, here's an unpopular opinion for you. A romantasy book having romantasy book tropes in it does not make it a copy-paste of your favorite romantasy book, okay? Like, do you know how many romantasy books are enemies to lovers? How many have a secretive, morally gray, politically uncertain book boyfriend like Xaden? Do we know how many of those exist that existed before Fourth Wing, that Fourth Wing copy-pasted, if that's what we're going to talk about? Like, I'm not shitting on Fourth Wing. Like, people talk about things being a copy-paste of ACOTAR, being a copy-paste of, like, all of the popular romantasy books. A book having similar tropes that are done in a different way, in a different world, with a different magic system, with a different, like, set of creatures. Direbound is about direwolves. It's not about dragons. It quite literally can't be a copy-paste without dragons. Sorry. There are also 2 guys in this one, and not in the same way that we have Dane and Xaden. It's a different vibe. This also has, I think, some like a similar, you could call them vampires, I guess, but they're not quite your traditional vampires. We've got a bunch of things going on. Just because a book takes place at a military academy which by the way, Divergent took place at a military academy. Is Fourth Wing a copy-paste of Divergent? 4 is a lot like Xaden. But they're not. It's not a copy-paste of that. Like, reusing tropes and reusing things and settings that worked well, like, here's my rant for the day. I hate that. I've seen so much of that. I've seen so much of, you're being paid to review this book because I didn't like it. This book is AI because I didn't like it. And this book is a copy-paste of my favorite book because it has 1 or 2 things in common with it. What are we talking about? Like, is every book with a fae in it a copy-paste of ACOTAR? Your argument doesn't make any sense. Now, there are books that have similarities. I will say, like, if we want to get into a little bit of BookTok tea. Now, Powerless has been proven to have direct, like, paragraphs, quotes, and action plot sequences that Red Queen has. That I would say you're validated in saying that's a copy paste. If you're literally copying word for word plot points, that's a copy paste. If your book takes place at a magical academy, it's not a copy paste of Harry Potter. It's not a copy paste of Zodiac Academy. If your book has fae shifters in it, it's not Zodiac Academy. If your book has a morally gray fae man with wings, even if they're leather bat wings, that's not a copy paste of ACOTAR unless the same plot line is happening. That's my unpopular opinion. I feel like people on the internet are insane these days. People say things and I sit there and I read comments and I'm like you spent your time typing that out and you thought about that and you hit send and you thought it was good and okay and socially acceptable to say that. Ooh, that drives me crazy. If I have any Libra in my chart, I think that's what it is. Like, I like justice. I don't like for people to just like willy-nilly be able to say things and just think that that's fine. That bothers me. So that's the BookTok drama. I have been accused recently multiple times because I like books that get a little bit of controversy sometimes because they're vibes reads and the snobs on BookTok don't understand what a vibes read is. I really like the Eating Woods trilogy by Carrie Lake. I love Zodiac Academy. Let me tell you something fun. I've never been paid any money by Carrie Lake or the Twisted Sisters to talk about those series. And the amount of comments that I've had just recently, if you guys care, I was involved in a small bit of drama on BookTok because I called out a reviewer who accused Carrie Lake of using AI in her books. And I basically just made a video that was like, hey, what I gathered from your review is that you didn't like the book and your reasoning for rage baiting people and getting clicks and engagement on your video was saying that you thought it was AI and you didn't actually have any proof, you just had opinions. I didn't say it like that, I said it very nicely, but she like clapped back and people like to be mad more than they like to hear common sense. So people jumped on her video and did a full attack train on me, and the meanest comments I've ever received, well, they're not for me, they're on her video, which is why they're being so mean. Like, the majority of them were like, yeah, everybody, all of her book reviews are paid, she just talks about books that she gets paid. Listen, I have a large platform on TikTok and Instagram. So yes, people do ask me to talk about their books for money, and I have been paid for giving book reviews. However, if you go on TikTok and on Instagram, my videos are marked as paid partnerships, #1, so you can tell. And #2, I don't agree to review a book if I don't like it. If I would rate it below 3.5 stars, I do have to unfortunately have the very stressful job, this is why I'm so stressed all the time, of going back and telling authors like, hey, this isn't going to be a fit for me. That's really hard for me to do, but I've never talked about a book that I didn't like. So basically, if I've been paid for it, usually you're going to be able to tell because the paid partnership toggle is on. But however, if you ever see me talking about a book that I've been paid to talk about, I'm telling you my true thoughts. A paid partnership does not mean that I'm lying about the book. It does for some people. There are creators who lie about books, okay? There is some tea. However, I can only tell you as myself, as my person, like I don't know, I would never tell you anything different, but I am honestly telling you, I've never talked about a book that I didn't like for money. I have talked about books that I like organically for no money, for free. I've promoted the Twisted Sisters for my entire BookTok career, I guess. They've never paid me anything. I've never gotten anything for free from them. I buy my own I will have to buy my own special edition books from them, okay? They don't pay me anything. They love and appreciate me, but I don't need anything from them. I would never ask them for money. I just like the books and whatever. Carrie Lake, Bloom Books and Carrie Lake have reputations of not paying people to talk about their books. So everyone was saying that Carrie Lake just was friends with me and liked me because I promoted her book and I made her money, and the only reason I talked about her book was because I was paid for it. Long story short of the drama, I don't do that. Okay, just in case anybody was wondering, and I can't say any of this on like TikTok or Instagram, no one cares. If I'm giving you a book review organically, I'm telling you my true thoughts. If I'm giving you a book review that someone asked me to do, I'm giving you my true thoughts. If I read a book that someone asked me to review for money and I didn't like it, you won't see the book review on my page. That's as simple as that. That's how it goes. So there's my little tea. There's also the latest Carrie Lake AI big, like the only real BookTok drama I've ever been involved in, and I will tell you it was the most stressful, horrible, I got Feyre's watery bowels from just like, it wasn't even that bad, and I was right. I was not in the wrong, okay? There's plenty of people who think I'm in the wrong, but the people, I'm gonna tell you right now, the people who think I'm in the wrong are the people who don't like me simply because I don't like the Empyrean series. That's who was hating on me, and they literally made comments like, I stopped following her because she wouldn't stop shit talking my favorite series, which was Fourth Wing. Why are you so sensitive? You're gonna unfollow me because I don't like, I mean, I understand if I repeatedly shit talk, like, that's fine, that's valid, hit the unfollow button. But they were talking about me like we were mortal enemies because I don't like the same spicy romantasy series that you like. Please get a life. Get a life. People on the internet are really rude. I honestly thought about coming on here the other day and just making an entire like rant video about how depressing it is to be a content creator because it's sad. It's great. It's really rewarding. It's wonderful. I love having communities. I've made so many friends that I literally would not have without this. And I do book retreats now and I connect with, I meet people in real life and I make best friends. Like every few months when we go on a retreat, I make new best friends. That's really magical and amazing, especially me being an antisocial person who doesn't like people. I like all the people that I meet. Listen, some of the people that I meet love Fourth Wing and we're best friends. Can you believe? Can you believe that that happens? And they don't like Zodiac Academy. Wow, crazy, crazy. My camera's overheating because the tea is so hot. But yeah, I don't know. Do you guys like hearing about BookTok drama? Do you like personal life updates? Please don't be mean in the comments though. Like, please just say what you like. It's not the week for this. Just say what you like, say what you want. I know I'm asking your opinion, and if you would like to say it in a roundabout nice way, listen, you can do whatever you want. But I'm not in the mental space right now to read a comment that says, I don't want to hear you talk shit. It's boring and I don't like it and I don't want to hear it and I don't think it deserves your energy. And even if it's coming from a place of like love, so I got a comment like that. I've gotten comments like that recently and they just like hit wrong. They hit wrong. I don't think they come across how you're trying to come across and they hurt my feelings. Maybe that's a me problem. Someone's probably going to leave a comment saying that I'm overly sensitive and I shouldn't care what people say and I'll get my feelings hurt about that. But yeah, let me know. I promise I'm working on the ultimate dystopian list. I made it and then I wanted to add more books to it. So it's only good things. I just wanted to give you more books. I am working on the ultimate list of standalones, on and off Kindle Unlimited, duologies, trilogies, and series that are 4+ books. If there's one that you're most excited about, I am planning on releasing them in order, but you're welcome to tell me which one you're excited about. Would love to come on here and diary vlog you. Maybe we'll bookshelf organize and I'll just tell you about all of the like happy and sad and tea things that have happened in my life recently. I do know people were interested about knowing about content creation, and we talked about that a little bit about paid reviews, but if you want a little bit more in depth of like my whole journey, the first partnership I ever did, what happens when I don't like a book, what happens when partnerships don't work out. I have left some partnerships before and I didn't sign an NDA, so I could tell you about it. And basically what my standards are, what I will talk about, what I won't talk about, what I accept money for, what I don't care about accepting money for, what I will say no to and then continue to talk about for free. Would love to tell you about that if anybody cares, if anybody's interested, or if you want general tips about content creation. I generally find that content really boring, but if other people want it, totally fine. Also, I know there are people on here that get annoyed at me asking what you want every week. They just deliver content. Just give us something. I got you, but I want to give you what you want. So there's my absolutely chaotic February reading wrap up, March update, March hopefuls. I left off so many things. There's so many more books that I'm planning to read in March, but I left them off and I'm sorry. And this is unfiltered me. here I am. This is where we are in my life right now. My birthday is always really bad. I feel like I get really excited about it and I do really fun things and I hang out with people and it's always great, but I remember every single year it's like a stressful experience and this is the vibe. This is the vibe. And I don't want to be. Does anybody want to guess how old I am? Does anybody have a guess? I will tell you in the next YouTube video. So subscribe to my channel, hit like on this video, hit the thumbs up, do whatever, leave a comment guessing how old I am, and I will tell you in the next video that I post, which will probably be my March reading wrap up. So that's it. That's all I have for you right now. We're sad. We're sad today. I don't feel good. But whatever, you know, it is what it is. This is real life. I'm coming to you. If you don't want to see my real life, then, you know, this isn't the place for me, I guess. But I'll see you next time for my March reading wrap up or my dystopian book rec list, whichever one comes first. You know, listen, we know I'm an Aries. I will lie to you daily on here and tell you the order in which I'll give you things, and then it will happen nothing like that. That's just how it is. That's how it's gonna have to be. So that's it. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you come back, hope you stay, and I hope you chat with me in the comments and let me know how old you think I am. I'm sure that'll hurt my feelings as well, but like, I asked you for that, so go wild, do whatever. My brain. I read books in February. Oh, I gotta think. Oh, I hate everything. Did I read Daggermouth in February? No, the Daggermouth was in my January review, wasn't it? It definitely was. What the fuck else did I read? What the hell did I read?